Looking to improve your life, brush up on your personal growth techniques? You are in the right place. Welcome to Life's Little Lessons with your host, author of Designing Your Own Destiny, Kevin A. Dunlap.
Hello, this is Kevin Dunlap with Life's Little Lessons, and welcome back to today's show. Today I have a guest that has actually been, I've known for probably about 6 or 9 months now, possibly even up to a year, as she's actually one of our regular members at the mastermind that I've talked about many times in previous episodes. And this is a lady that I've seen basically start her business and actually is growing her business, and she's helping out a lot of people in the mastermind. She's got other clients, and she's doing a phenomenal job. Her name is Leandra Doemer. She's actually, her name of her company is called Music and Media, and she's a videographer, which I've been assuming she's been doing that for a number of years. It's also a multimedia expert. So I would like to do is actually go ahead and invite Leandra to the show. Leandra, welcome to the show.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. So tell me a little bit about what is it that you do and why is it that you do it?
Well, what I do is filming, editing, and basically take someone's idea or concept of a video from the idea into the actual reality. And the reason I do that is, one, I went to school for filming, editing, and multimedia recording, and so I'd like to use my education that I paid very much for. And so that's the first and foremost reason. The second reason is I love music, always have, as well as video, and I oddly have a knack for editing. A lot of people find editing tedious, boring, even sucky, but I really like it. And so I put all that together in one company.
Fantastic. And actually, I would agree with you because I'm going to be just like everybody else. I do a lot of editing myself for this show, and I do find it can be kind of tedious and boring or whatever. So I've talked about I've had a couple of people edit other episodes, and I'll have another guy probably do that again. And maybe you and I should talk offline about possibly editing these shows as well. But yes, I would agree with you. It can become a very tedious job. So how did you get into it? I mean, why did you go to school for it?
Well, I went to school because I didn't know much what I wanted to do. You know, everyone thinks, you know, you go to school, you go to college, and it should be for something that should make money. So doctor, lawyer, you know, I didn't want to do any of those kind of things. And the thing that's always come up in my life that seems to make me the happiest is music and or movies. And so they always say that if you're going to be happy doing something, then why not be something you enjoy? Okay,
that's fantastic. So when you were first going to school and doing this, were you thinking about like shooting feature films, shooting documentaries, or were you more thinking of what you're doing now, which is, I'm assuming you're doing like promotional videos and you're doing things like that to help people brand your business?
Right, and that's exactly what I'm doing now, is doing business promotional videos, branding, and helping people to get the word about their business out there. But someday I would like to do the re-recording mixing for feature films. That is something that I would really like to do. And someday the dream is out there, but as far as I am right now, this was pretty much my first dream.
Okay. Because I've seen some of your work before, because you shared it with the mastermind and you were wanting to get feedback, and I thought you did a phenomenal job, and I think I even said for the most part that you were doing a great job, and I know you're working for other people that we both know, so I actually personally would love to see some of your work, and is there a way that people can actually see some of your work? Do you promote some of your stuff online?
Of course. So my online channel is on YouTube, and I can't get it to have the business name, so it's just under my name. But I have all my videos on that YouTube channel. I try to upload them pretty regularly. And that is also connected to my website at musicandmediaservices.com.
Musicandmediaservices.com. So that's in the word "and" is spelled out, correct?
Yeah, yes, correct.
Okay. And we will retouch on that because normally we go over the what you do at the very end, how to contact you. But I will definitely go ahead and share this now, and stay with the show. And then at the end of the show, I will again re-promote this and your YouTube channel. So how did you get into this? I mean, obviously, this is not a cheap business to get started with, and you're going to need like a lot of equipment, like for not only the editing but the filming and the lighting and the audio recording. How did you get started with that?
So, yeah, there is equipment that's needed, and a lot of people think that you need a ton of equipment, and in the end, yes, you do. But I got started with just the bare minimum with a business loan, and got the bare minimum of camera, lights, microphone, all of that kind of thing. And then my plan is just to build equipment and services as I go. And that's been working out pretty well so far. So yes, it is some investment, and there is some business loan to pay off.
Okay. And one of the things, but you're doing it. You did it smart. You went and got a loan. You're investing little to none of your money, with the exception of the interest that you're paying, and you were able to get a bare bones minimum to get started with, and you went ahead and just got started and actually started doing the work.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's the best way to do it, because if you have $15,000 in business loan, but you don't have all you need, or it's too much of a loan to pay off at first, then you might never get started because of the fear of that high of a loan. Or if you just don't think that you can get all the equipment, don't have the space for all of the equipment or whatever, then that's also a barrier to getting started. So just getting started with the bare minimum is, I think, a really great way to go, because then at least you've got something going. It's not running, but it's crawling. So,
what the thing is, as your business is growing, is how long have you been in business with your company, Music and Media?
About 6 months now, and yes, I've been in this business 7 years freelance, but 6 months ago, Music and Media was created.
Okay, and was it scary just going out on your own, leaving the field?
I think everyone that has done it would say that yes, it's scary, because you think, well, what if I go broke? What if I run out of loan money? What if the business collapses? Well, those are all great what ifs, but if you don't try, you're never going to know.
That's just true, and we'll be covering more of that later on as well, is overcoming your fears and actually taking the actions and taking the steps. And I'm proud of you that you actually did that. So that's kudos to you for doing that. Now, could you tell us a little bit about what these promo videos and what is it that you do so that the audience can understand, and why is it important that they have something like this?
So it's important that you have a business promotional video, because it's basically a commercial. Commercials traditionally are on TV, and but that is something that not only is being phased out because of internet, but also because of the high cost of doing a commercial, which is probably only 30 seconds to a minute, but is costing thousands of dollars. So with the introduction of online advertising, which is what 85% of businesses are doing now, then the cost of doing a business promotional video or commercial is not as much, as well as it gets you and your business in front of more people, because a lot of people are turning towards the online things for watching commercials and advertisements, such as YouTube. So it's getting you in front of that many more people a day, and then they have the chance to share it. It can go viral. There's way more possibilities than just watching something on TV.
Okay. And when you're shooting the videos, is it of the company owner, or what are you normally getting out there? Is it, like I said, the owner of the company? Is it a whole bunch of people working? Is it kind of like a mini feature film? And what is it that you're kind of doing?
All of the above. Depends on, of course, the owner's vision of what they want their business to be advertised as. Okay. And so I just go off of that vision, but then along the way, some other ideas come up. Generally, the videos are 30 seconds to 2 minutes long. Okay. And that's because that is the attention span, mostly, of people that are watching videos online. And then the content depends on, of course, what kind of business it is. If it's a coaching business like life coach or health coach, then I would gear the images and the wording and the music towards that kind of mentality. And if they want it to be filmed, I can film the owner of the business. They can talk about it. They can show what they do. They can have other people in the film as well. Or it could be stock footage, which is just royalty-free videos, which are off of an offline library.
Okay.
And that can be showing, people running. If it's for a health video, people running on a track, and people doing healthy things in their life. And then there might be words or voiceover that comes up and says, "Do something for your life, be healthy," for example. And then it could have all a combination of voiceover, or if the person is shy in front of the camera, then it could be just other people in the video. It really just depends on what their vision is and what they're comfortable with doing.
Okay. And so are your videos more like storytelling kind of a thing, or is it?
It's like, it's best said as an advertisement or as a short window into someone's business, a demonstration of what the business can do for its target audience.
Okay. And so you've been doing this on your own for 6 months. Do you normally work with individuals or companies, or?
Both.
Okay.
I've worked with individual people who are starting up their own sole proprietorship business. And I've also worked with companies that have other past commercials and they're just looking to do something a little bit different. Okay. So both are definitely a possibility. Bigger companies, larger, smaller, whatever it may be.
Okay. Well, and so you mentioned earlier about, are you writing like the words that are being said? Do you script it out? Kind of, you get an idea what they want and you script it?
Yeah, so I usually have a meeting, which I call a concept meeting, before we get started on the video. And we write down all of the ideas, the way that it should look, the words that should be said, the tone that the video should have, the point that we're going towards. Are we selling this product? Are we getting people in the door? Are we getting them to call this person? We write down all of these things and we come up with a point to the video to go towards, so that when you get to the end of it, it's clearly, oh, okay, I'm supposed to call this person right now.
Mm-hmm. So the call to action at the very end. And I think you mentioned something about the music as well. Is this like royalty-free music? Is it music the client would buy, so they can add it in there, or do you work with people that make compose?
I usually do royalty-free music, which I have libraries of, and is free to use as long as the credit is given to the composer. And that is music that I've maybe used in other videos, maybe have not, but there is available also original tracks, which are composed by people that I know personally and would be paid for their services in doing that.
Okay, because the only reason I ask is I have a little bit of a film background. I don't know if you knew that or not. In another life of mine, before living in Vegas, I used to do some stunt work for film and stage. Actually, the two images behind my head are two different stage productions. But when I was working on independent films, yes, the music had to be, you'll see that in the credits. You'll see as the credits go by, thank you for all of these people. And then you say, this is the music, this is the song, this is the composer. And you're crediting that person for that.
Right. Yeah, and I have done things like that at the end of some of my longer videos, where the credits roll and it says, music, composition, content, all of that. So I do give credit where credit's due, and that's very important.
Of course, because if you're doing a commercial, you want to be credited as well. So you want to be credited for your work.
Yeah.
So take me through, like I say, a typical process. Say, if I was going to hire you, I'm a business coach. I call myself an entrepreneur strategist. If I was going to hire you, what were the steps that I could expect to go through in using your services? I know you talked about the original, what's it called, concept. consultation? Okay.
So the consultation, first of all, is where we talk about the details of the video. What main points should I be sure to hit in the video? What main pictures, videos, content are we going to be filming? Are we going to use stock footage? Details like that help me to ultimately price out what the video will cost the client and how much time that will take. If it's filming, then, work that in. And also what kind of music they want to hear, what kind of words, script they want in the video. If there's going to be people in the video being filmed, who is that going to be? What are they going to do? So we go through all of that concept type thing at first. And then once the project gets started, once I have all the materials, deposit everything that I need to get the project started, then things go pretty fast. And the first time the client sees the video is when it's almost done. Rough draft is what I call it, because all that needs to happen at that point is maybe some input from the client. And as far as maybe change this word, I like this picture, maybe put this one a little bit faster. And, if there's typos, get that fixed up. And then I do like a lot of communication throughout the process, just to make sure that I'm staying on point with what the client's vision is.
Okay.
And then, I go back, change the suggestions that were made. And I value the client's suggestions as far as their vision, like if this is what they thought it would look like, if it's not, if there's something that needs to be added, then we do those things. And then I deliver it to them either on a Google Drive, which is just an easier way of emailing without having to deal with large file sizes. And also, if needed, a flash drive. And so that would be the final draft. And at that point, then they are free to put it on their website, social media, wherever they want to post it. And I do a little bit of free advertising as well, because I want the video to be seen, obviously. So I do some posting of my own. And then video is pretty much done.
Okay. Yeah, and I know this will vary depending on the length of the video, and also, what is it going to consist of? Because if you've got a lot of stock footage, some people call it B-roll, I think. If you got some of that, that's going to make your job easier. But if you're do you do a lot of on location shots and stuff of people?
Yeah. So when I'm filming, some people want the entire video to be filmed. Them or people in their business, or demonstrations of their business, and I do a minimum of 2 hours of filming, because you can't get much done without at least 2 hours. And I like to have a lot of B-roll for the purpose of putting in shots where they're needed in between. And so I like to do it all myself. Some people say, well, I need an employee to get extra shots or, things, but I usually have a vision in my head of what I'm going towards. So I like to do it all myself, just so that I get exactly what I'm needing to get.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question. I know you're probably not prepared to answer this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. How often, or do you ever hire talent agencies to have extras and actors come in onto the set to pretend they're the employees?
Yeah.
Or pretend they're customers.
Yeah, that would be if somebody is not comfortable in front of the camera and they say, can I just have an actor be me? And so that is possible. I know some actors, and I'm working on getting partnerships with talent agencies so I can have more availability for doing exactly that, or extras, or whatever there needs to be.
Okay, because I've been in a few commercials back when I lived in North Carolina, and I know some commercial actors as well. So I'm just curious if you've gone down that road yet or not, or you're setting it up so you have that as a possibility.
Yeah.
Okay, well, fantastic. So it sounds like you really enjoy what you do, and you seem to be very talented. You seem to, you're following your dream, you're following your passion. That's phenomenal because most people don't. I'll tell you this: I got my degree in mathematics, and I went to school for meteorology for grad school. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not doing any of that. So.
Know that.
Yes. My degree in meteorology got me a computer programming job.
Okay. All right.
So most of us, and I don't know about you, I mean, if you talk to some of your people that you graduated college with, how many of them are actually pursuing something in film and entertainment or in media?
I haven't talked to many of them, but it's kind of a hard road because the industry itself is hard to break into, and the fact that it's shrinking makes it even harder. Mm-hmm. So it's a hard road, but if you can break into it, then it's definitely something worth trying.
Well, and let me ask you this. This is a little bit of a personal question. Number one, how old are you? Because you look like you're in probably early 30 or...
29.
Okay, so you are about, and so with the, with YouTube being one of the top 3 search engines out there, Facebook and Google being the other 2, mm-hmm. How important do you think a business should have a video, at least one promotional video for them? I know you're going to say it's very important because that's your job, but in this day and age, as a millennial or somebody of the younger age group, how important is video for a business, do you think?
I'm saying this honestly, and not just because it is my job and what I do to make these videos, but saying honestly, in this society today, it is probably one of the most important things that you could do to have a video on your website or on your social media. Because, like I said, with the advertising, it used to be that the main part of a company's advertising budget was the commercials, the billboards, the newspaper, or whatever ads that they may have planned to do. But because those things are being phased out, then the internet is becoming your main source of advertisement. Mm-hmm. And so that's probably where you should spend most of your advertising dollars in your company, because that's going to be the new advertisement of the age. The next generation, which is the millennials, is setting it up so that we will be in a society which is very get it, got it, good, very, very fast. They want the information, but they don't want to take too long about it. They want all the information that they can handle at one point. So not too much information, don't flood them, but just get enough information so that they are able to explain it to someone else, let's say.
Okay.
And
so one of the reasons I was asking you that is I started shooting video of myself in October 2009 when I was shooting real estate houses. Mm-hmm. And every house that I was, and this is like when I was doing a lot of lease option homes, and I would always stand in front of the camera, I would introduce the house, I'll take a tour of the house, a narrated tour of the house, and then I'll stand back in front of the camera and say, hey, please give me a call, basically my call to action. Mm-hmm. I know for me, that's 8 years now that I've been doing that, and that has been extremely beneficial in business, because in this day and age, especially if you're a solo entrepreneur, your face is part of your brand. You may have a logo, you may have a color, you may have a company motto, but your face is where people are going to trust you. Right. And doing a promotional video, getting something like that done, professional, not just shooting with your cell phone. You can do a Facebook Live, but if you have something that's professionally done, has professional music put onto it, has your B-roll, your stock footage, if you have extras or whatever, that to me becomes extremely, extremely important in your business.
People still want to see a professional video, even though it's not on TV anymore. They still want to see a professional advertisement because we're all used to that. So there is something to be said for the Facebook Live, but the same thing can be said about the professional advertisement, because it is true that your face is your brand. When people think of your company, you want them to think of you. So, of course, if your face is there talking about it, then they are going to think of you when they think realty or life coaching or whatever it is that you want to put out there. And so I have a video on my YouTube channel where I talk about that People don't want a robot talking about your company. They want you talking about your company so that they can trust you. They know you. They feel like that they have a confidant in this industry, and that's what they want. So it's very important that you are advertising your business and branding you.
Yeah, and the thing is, because you're giving them that commercial, that 30-second to 2-minute commercial, and they're putting whatever advertisements that they want. They can put links in their emails, however they're doing it. And I was going to challenge anybody right now that's listening or watching the show. If you have cable TV or satellite TV and you watch TV, watch the commercials.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at in your area, wherever you are. We are, Leandra and I are both in Las Vegas. However, in any area, look at your most successful attorneys. How many commercials are they running?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very true that people identify with people that are real. And so if you're saying, hey, I'm in Las Vegas, I own my business, and come talk to me, then they feel like they can come and talk to you. So a lot of the lawyers in town, they say just that, and it makes them more personable, which makes people comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And just because the only reason I say lawyers is because they're the ones that have the more prevalent, especially during daytime, like your morning shows or things like that. You'll see a lot of attorney commercials at that time. And I actually have a friend of mine that's an attorney. He's known as the heavy hitter here in Las Vegas. He's on a motorcycle. He's playing baseball. I mean, they're all different stories that he's telling.
Right.
So those are all promotional videos.
Yeah, and I would challenge people too to watch the commercials when you're watching TV, or go online and watch some advertisement and just see what you notice. See what words that you notice that they're using a lot, or if they are using a kind of advertisement tactic to get your attention. Is it funny? Is it a fear tactic? Are they putting in your face your fear? Don't get in an accident. Call us. What kind of thing are they catching your attention with? And does it catch your attention? Because that's the whole point of it after all. I would challenge people to watch some commercials and watch them, objectively.
I actually had a short-time mentor of mine many years ago. This was back in the 99. And he would turn on a TV show and ignore the show and only watch the commercials because he was just... he'd be TiVoing through the shows so he could get to the commercials, which is backwards to most people.
Right. Well, I actually have Hulu, and Hulu gives you the option of paying for commercial-free shows or to keep the commercials in there. And I opted to keep the commercials in there because it keeps me fresh on what commercials are doing. Yeah.
And another mentor of mine said, you got to go do your R&D. And he doesn't mean researching, what his R&D stands for, rip off and duplicate. You find out what other people are doing successfully and you do the exact same thing. And Of course, he's talking about landing pages and such, but the same thing can be said on a commercial. If you see a commercial that's very effective, that you think is very effective, you just change the content and you put on the exact same color shirt that person's wearing. You have everybody do the exact same camera angles. I mean, there could be something said about that because that was successful. So.
Yeah, there's things that I've taken from other commercials, like a phrase. If you don't have a catchphrase for your business, take a note from farmers. We are farmers. It's simple. It sticks in your head. And if you want something that is attention catching, then maybe start with something that's funny, that, like a guy falling over, and then say, do you need new floors?
Oh, exactly. It's about being creative and coming up with those ideas. And I'm sure that's part of some of your initial session. Like, okay, client or Mr. or Miss Jones, this is what you're looking for in your business. Okay, now let's brainstorm. And I know in the film industry, it's called storyboarding. You actually write out what each camera angle is going to be and what you're going to be filming. But just so you have an idea of what both of you guys want, and then you go whenever your film day comes, you go and and shoot it. And I'm going to suggest, or not suggest, I'm going to assume that you suggest that when you're filming something like that, because I know whenever I want to go get some professional photos done, I went and took 8 pairs of clothes with me. I know there's going to be costume. We call them costume changes. I knew there's going to be a change of clothes just so it makes it look like it's different times or it's different days or different days of the year. I mean, you could be wearing a parka and a swimsuit all in the same commercial, but it makes it look like it was an entire year had gone by.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and I tell people bring many clothes changes so it's like different days, especially if we're doing something over time, so that they get that sense of time. And also wear clothes that you're comfortable in and that, show you well. So, yeah, wear colors.
Yes. Okay, well, I'm going to go and change the direction of the show for right now, and we're going to go and get into some of your successes. As an entrepreneur, as a business owner, I know you say you've only been in business for yourself for 6 months, but you've been in the industry for 7 years, and I'm going to probably say another 4 years on top of that for school, and then any kind of hobby stuff that you're doing even before you went to school. So I'm sure you've been doing this for a lot longer than the 7 years that you've mentioned. So when you're creating your company called Music and Media, what were some of your early successes that you had? It could be your first client, it could be that, whatever it could be. So what were some of your early successes?
Well, oddly, a success that people don't think about is the success of just learning as you go. And that's something that I really did a lot of, because with my first client, I learned that I need to have a deposit, and then I also need to have a service agreement so we both know what the parameters of our business relationship will be. And then I also learned that I need to have an office. So soon I will have an office, and that's something that I'll be growing towards. So just the learning experience, the growing, is something that I think is a great success, and still will be. It's a continuing success, but a success that I had that was just something concise, one success and done, would be the first video that I pitched to someone. We're sitting in that consultation, and I've always been a little bit shy when it comes to talking about money, especially when I'm asking for, over a couple $100, or, I'm asking, it's going to be $800. And, I get very shy. And so I guess my first success with that would be where I said, okay, this is going to be about $1,000 for this video. That includes the filming, the editing, as well as all voiceovers, all music tracks, all stock footage, all extras, actors, and everything that it entailed. So that's going to be $1,000. How does that sound to you? And they said, great, let's get started. And I said, really?
And I'm glad you bring that, because I know you're new in business, and I think a lot of beginning business owners go through the exact same thing. And this is probably going to be covered in our fear section as well, is overcoming the idea of self value. Mm-hmm. Like, because a lot of people, you may say, hey, $1,000 is a bit much for for what services you were offering at that time to that client, but in your mind, you say, okay, that's way much. But then the other guy's probably the person that you were selling it to was saying something like $1,000. Wow, that's a lot less than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and realizing the value of what you do as a company, as a person, as a business is a process, because you know what you do to make your business work, but to realize your value and get other people to realize that value, it's a really rewarding thing. And so what you do in your business is worth value. How much is your time worth? Like, really ask that question.
And my word of advice, things I advise as for other entrepreneurs, and this was something I heard a few years ago from a lady by the name of Lisa Sasevich. And one of her sayings was, once 5 people are willing to pay your price, it's time to raise your prices.
I like that.
So if you got that fifth client, say you got $1,000, that sixth client, it better be $1,200, better be $1,400. And that's for anybody out there. Now, I'm not just saying that to Leandra, even though we're having an interview. I'm saying that to everybody out there in the audience. Is, if you're afraid of if your prices are going to be too high, go ahead and raise them anyway. Test the market to see if people are going to pay for it. You may start off low, and we've had a few of our guests that said they even started off working for free. Because they wanted to. These weren't videographers that were providing a product. These are people providing a service, and they were saying like life coaching. So they were providing that for free, but they were saying, "I'll give it to you for free. I'll give you this program for free for a testimonial at the very end. So I need you to give me a testimonial of what you thought of the program." That's just a word of advice known to everybody else out there. So you're mentioning as far as fears about possibly, I'm assuming one of your fears when you were first starting out was, you were saying, asking for the money, asking for the price tag. And how did you overcome that, or how did you get around that?
I remember somewhere back in some of my sales training, probably when I was, probably 18 years old, somebody said, if you're going to sell it, then sell it. Don't get to the point of asking for money and then chicken out. Say how much it is and wait. Then just shut up. Just don't say anything else. Don't explain yourself. Don't promote the product anymore. Just shut up and wait for them to consider. And so I started to do that, because one of my things when I get nervous is that I babble, especially when I talk about money and I get nervous about money, is I babble. So I said, okay, so all of this for your video, including blah, 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 features, whatever. So that's going to be a total of $1,000 and $500 deposit today. Shut up.
That wasn't a pause, people that are on the podcast. She actually shut up for 3 seconds.
Yes. And that's what you got to do. So yeah, let them consider. And that's how I got over that, is I remembered that somebody said, if you're going to sell it, then sell it. Don't chicken out.
Okay. And those are very wise words, because I know even I had that same issue when I was getting started. Leandra is just, she was having it when she is getting started. So I'm going to say probably a good 75 to 100% of you out there are going to have it if you're just getting started. And that silence will be extremely uncomfortable.
Yes.
But the thing is, it's uncomfortable for them as well. Because they know now, with you being quiet, it's now their turn to talk.
Yep.
Okay, and then let me ask you this. I'm going to do the flip side of the successes. What were some of your early challenges or setbacks, or even, I dare say, failures that you learned something from? Because as I don't know if you and I have talked about this. I've talked with the audience this a few times, is that I strongly feel that there is no such thing as a failure. You cannot fail. It is impossible to fail. Failure is just a perspective of an outcome of an event. It's your interpretation of the event. Right. This is why my company is called Plentiful Perspectives, because everything that happens, there's another way of looking at it.
Right.
So in NLP, neuro linguistic programming, they say there's no such thing as failure. It's just feedback. So what were some of the perceived challenges, perceived issues that have come up that you were able to either overcome or that you learned from?
Well, I completely agree with you. And I also think that every perceived failure is a chance to learn and grow. And next time you won't do that again. So it's my biggest challenge and perceived failure would be running out of money. As a new business, it is definitely a challenge to take care of the business costs, your own personal costs, as well as getting out there every day and hitting the pavement and getting those clients, getting customers, because it's not going to come to you all at once, at first. And so it's getting those people that are going to give you the experience and the confidence to get out there again and get more customers. And so in between all of that, you have to eat and sleep at some point. So it's just a lot of time, and it can be very overwhelming, especially when you're just living literally dollar to dollar. And so that would be the biggest challenge, and still is a challenge, just, getting through the financial burdens.
Well, thank you for going on that road and being vulnerable there. I do appreciate it. And I think that's a lot of new businesses go through that, even people in more seasoned businesses, because you ride the surf or ride the wave of the local economy, and also of your own. How much effort are you putting out there in your own self promotions and such? So yes, there are times, and they call it there's more month at the end of the money. So, so that means you didn't make enough to do that. However, another thing to consider is that if that's happening a lot with you, for you guys in the audience there, it may be time to change your pricings a little bit. You may need to be raising your prices, because if you're saying, okay, let's say Leandra's case here, let's say she's going to charge $1,000 to do something, and it's going to cost her $500 in her own cost for new material, for extras, for getting permits if she needs permits, and getting all of this other stuff that she's doing that she's factoring into the cost. Well, can you sustain yourself on that remaining $500? If the answer is no, then it's time to charge $700 or $900, $700 more. Or $200 or $300 more, so to account for that extra money that you need. So one of the biggest issues that I see with people giving out, starting businesses doing prices, is they don't always look at all of their own costs that they're going to take to do that product or service. So you definitely want to take that into consideration. And again, thank you for sharing that. Now, where do you see yourself in the next 12 or 24 months, as your business is growing and stuff that you're putting together? Where do you see yourself in 1 or 2 years?
Well, in the next 12 to 24 months, I am going to be putting together a office as well as a small recording studio or booth. And then I'm also going to be acquiring the tools and the space for doing green screen filming and editing. So that's, a whole other section of equipment right there. And then in the next couple of years, just expanding on all of that, maybe moving into a full-on filming studio and growing the business up and up.
Okay. Well, there's a person out there, and she's a producer. I don't think she's a director. She's a producer of an entire movie industry, and I guess I definitely see Leandra following something very similar to this. And she's an actress. She's been an actress since she was a kid, and she has her own production company of major motion pictures. And this lady is by the name of Drew Barrymore. Now, you may not think of her as like, oh my gosh, she's this big. Well, I mean, she had, I don't remember which movies, but she's done quite a few different productions herself. I think even some of the stuff that she's even started. So I could definitely see you doing something like that. It's just, just getting started, just getting it started and getting it going, doing one step at a time and saying, okay, because for those of you that are starting out, you don't necessarily need a professional paid office to have, unless you're going to be meeting there for clients. I could see that. A lot of businesses, including my own, I work out of my home. I've got an office in one of the rooms in the house, and I use that as my office. But I don't need to meet clients literally, because I usually meet clients online or on the telephone. But I definitely see where having a better or bigger production studio, so you can do better sound recordings, have the green screen. And for those who don't know what green screen is, that's you standing in front of a green screen, and then later on you putting in the background. That's basically what that is. Just go ahead and I want to ask you this. What are some lessons that you've learned as a business owner that you would like to impart to another budding or starting entrepreneur?
Lessons. You won't be perfect at first. You will go through trial and error. There's a learning curve to everything. And even if you've gone to business classes and, every business has its own progression, has its own learning curve. And so things won't be perfect at first, but that's the way it's supposed to be. Also, don't give up, because, perceived failures, you feel bad at the time, but how can you turn it around? And that's what's important.
Kind of like, what is the silver lining in that lesson, in the lesson that you can learn from that?
Yeah, what can you learn from every perceived failure and improve on the next time? And so even if a business goes down, even if you can't keep it going at all, and you have to completely switch gears, even get a regular job again. That's not a failure. It's more of a interlude.
Okay. It's a temporary stoppage of moving forward. And I've seen that a lot too, back in 2008 and those timeframes when the housing market was taking a plunge. There were people that were very successful that went back to waiting tables. Mm-hmm. And that's what they did at the time to get until they can get the resources again to get either another business going or to expand upon their current business.
Yeah. Business is a lot like life. I mean, that sounds really corny, but it is, because you have a vision for your life and you have ideas, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to have kids by the time I'm 30, and I'm going to have a successful career by the time I'm 35, and I'm going to own a house by the time I'm 40. And that may not happen exactly as you want it to happen, like as you saw it in your head, but it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Just because it doesn't have the picture perfect thing that you thought it would, doesn't mean it's not still a possibility.
Okay.
So,
and I do like what you said just a little bit ago about just getting started as well. I mean, how many times have you talked to other people that are waiting for the perfect moment to in your case, let's say you go out there and you applied for that business, like, oh my gosh, I got it. Okay, mm-hmm. You go out and start buying the equipment. So, I mean, it is about just taking action and being okay with not being perfect. That's
right.
That's great.
Right, because they said at the bank when I got the business loan, they said, so you're actually going to start this business, right? And I said, well, yeah, why wouldn't I? And they said, well, because more than half of the people that come in here for a business loan don't actually start the business. And I said, why the heck not? And they said, who knows? Fear? They never actually get around to it. And I said, well, that doesn't make any sense. But it's true. More than half of the people that go to start a business, they don't actually do it for whatever reason. And it's mostly because of fears. So,
and even though they had the money to do it, even they had the loan to do it, which I'm assuming they're going to default on. So,
yeah.
So, and let me ask you about that, because I've never interviewed yet anybody that has admitted or that's gone out and got a business loan. How much research did you put into the loan as for the dollar amount? And I'm asking the dollar amount. Well, how much research did you put into, like, I want to get this camera or this piece of equipment?
A lot of research. I researched for about like hardcore research about a month, maybe 2 months. And then overall, just like gathering information for the past, I would say 2 years, I've been just gathering information about how to run the business, what I would need, things like that, just from other people that are already in the industry, from other jobs that I've had, and just kind of getting the whole picture of what it's going to entail. But about 2 months worth of researching, what camera do I want? Why do I want this camera? And what's that going to cost? Writing it down. And then doing that for every piece of equipment. So.
And did you figure out any kind of fudge factor or any additional monies, like for yourself to as your possible initial operating costs, like, okay, I would just do print advertising, I've got to do that, or is that also stuff that you figured in?
There were some costs that I didn't expect, or I didn't expect would be as much as they were. So whatever business loan anybody is thinking about getting, I would say add $3,000 to $5,000 to that.
3,000 to 5,000? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, you heard it for somebody that has experience doing it. So, and thank you for sharing that, because I have not gotten a business loan for my business. So that is a great way to get started, because there is money's out there. So, Okay. Well, Leandra, I'd like to go and figure out what is the best way. I know you mentioned it earlier, but what is the best way for people to get a hold of you? You have your website, and I think you said it was Music and Media Services with an S.com.
Music and Media Services with an S, and is spelled out, .com. And that website has information on videos I've done, the process which I take to do a video, as well as contact information. Email is also a good way. That is also on the website. If you use any of these ways of getting in touch with me, it'll be me you're talking to. I prefer to run my business solo. So it's more personal that way.
And there's a lot of solo entrepreneurs out there, and if you need assistance, you can always subcontract that out to somebody else. So that's obviously a preference that as a lot of people do. And a lot of coaches are solo businesses. So, that's awesome. Thank you. So it's musicandmediaservices.com. And you said and your YouTube videos are on there as well. So. Yeah. So if you want to see examples of her work, and I think she said she's also showed you some of her behind the scenes, how things were done, kind of stuff is on there too. So this is how I interpreted what you just said. Was that correct?
The website has just the process that I go through to make each video. So not necessarily behind the scenes, but just insight into what will happen once you join media.
Okay, so I can be informed as to what to expect while working with you. Okay, so that way, me as the client, me as the customer, can be prepared to say, okay, I need to make sure I have this. I need to make sure I have an idea what my content is, and maybe locations or things like that.
Yep.
Okay, well, fantastic. Well, Leandra, we'll say thank you for being on the show today. It's been a great pleasure having you here. Are there any last words that you have before we depart?
No, if I try, I'm probably just going to say something cheesy. So.
Okay. If she tries, she's just going to say something cheesy. That's probably kind of cheesy yourself. Well, Leandra, I do want to say thank you for being on the show. It was a great pleasure having you here. And I look forward to watching some of your videos online. And I'll definitely going to be seeing you at the Mastermind because we still go to the same one here in Las Vegas. So if you happen to be in Las Vegas, contact me, contact Leandra if you want to know more about the Mastermind, and we'll be more than happy to share that information with you. If you don't live in Las Vegas, form a Mastermind or find somebody else that does do one and then get started, because they're a great way to, because you've got some business through there. I've got business through there. So it's a great way to build your business as well as potentially even have clients come to you. So phenomenal idea. Well, Leandra, thank you again, and I do appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Kevin, and have a great day, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Life's Little Lessons with your host, author of Designing Your Own Destiny, Kevin A. Dunlap. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit kevinadunlap.com, facebook.com/kevinadunlap.author, and on Twitter @KevinADunlap. We'll catch you on the next episode of Life's Little Lessons.